All from just the Nile.
We were the same people, and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people.
We are one.
Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word, pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2024 at the National Theatre and Indere Center. Daily screenings are from 4th February to June 2024 at Hams Cinemax and the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you for sticking around. It's time for us to speak business and let's see how we are faring. And well, we start off with the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, that is retired Major David Kasura, who has urged district agriculture officers to promote commercial farming. And this was during a training session at the National Farmers Leadership Center, where he emphasized sensitization of farmers about the value chain, and that is in a bid to boost Uganda's economy by shifting from subsistence farming to commercial farming. And this aims at bolstering Uganda's economy by transitioning agriculture from subsistence to commercial farming. And the permanent secretary at the ministry, that is retired Major General David Kasura, emphasized efforts of sensitizing farmers about value chain. Now we all know what value chain does. You don't have to really be a direct farmer for you to gain from commercial agriculture. There's a number of things you can do. For example, you can decide to be the one that collects pineapples, for example, and you make juice. I'm just saying. So value chain is very important when it comes to commercializing of agriculture. Now, Kasura was addressing officials at the closure of a 5-day training session that was held at the National Farmers Leadership Center, and these discussions centered on the U-Gift program, which is underscoring the importance of tailored approaches to address unique challenges faced by vulnerable communities. And also, Napak District Agriculture Officer Godfrey Chan urged the authorities to incorporate this very program into affirmative action, and also emphasized the majority of vulnerable communities have not embraced the project due to core funding requirements. The impasse deepened as the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries stood firm on the stipulated core funding guidelines, citing adherence to the World Bank protocols, but hopefully this can also be addressed going forward. Now, away from that, the re-verification of vendors, and this is taking place in Kawale District. The Minister for Local Government, Raphael Majazi, mandated a comprehensive re-verification of all vendors in the Kawale Central Market, and this was because some of these vendors were becoming landlords to this market, yet this is a government-owned market, and this is not supposed to be taking place. Now, Minister Majazi emphasized the re-verification to confirm legitimacy of the vendors operating in this central market, and this is after the verification process stalls and lockups to be allocated to the actual sitting vendors. So no vendor will be permitted to lease out any lockups and cite this, thereby acting as landlords within government-owned facilities. And the RDC, Godfrey Nyakahuma, acknowledged the urgency in addressing the situation, saying that they recently received a letter from vendors threatening to demonstrate due to the minister's delayed visit to Kawale Central Market. Now, please do note that last year, Minister Majazi formed a special committee to investigate corruption that allegedly marred the registration and relocation of vendors into the newly opened Kawale Central Market. And after the special committee report in July 2023, Minister Majazi ordered fresh vendor relocation process in the market, and this had been pending. This is why he had to make sure that he goes to Kawale. And away from that, let's talk about Ugandan creatives and starting businesses out of their craft and creativity, and also using this to transform lives and communities. Now, Denim Cartel, this happens to be a fashion brand. Denim for some is jeans. Yes, if you didn't know what denim was. So Denim Cartel is a fashion brand that started about 5 years ago, but if you would ask me, I got to know about Denim Cartel this very same year. And it's steadily making it big locally and continentally. This is by Troy Elimu, who is the founder of Denim Cartel. He believes with more support and investment, the potential of the creative industry will be unlocked. If you've also seen Troy, you know that he's a great dancer. If you've seen Troy, I know Sonko knows him now. Troy Elimu is a creative professional and founder of Denim Cartel, and this is an upcycling clothing line and customizes denim to fit their clients' preferences. Like most Ugandans, Denim Cartel is an incubator of motive and took close to 5 years to break through. Elimu offers a glimpse of the immense business opportunities in the fashion industry. The annual Creative Central initiative by Motive, a creatives hub which is here in industrial area, fosters collaboration in different interdisciplinary fields, and with interventions like access to finance, market and skills, it's definitely possible to transform creative works into sustainable businesses that can employ youth and enable them earn some revenue. And lastly, let's see how cross-border investment can help now. Tanzania Private Sector Foundation Chief Executive highlighted the pivotal role of efficient transport corridors in facilitating cross-border trade, and further stressed the importance of seamless movement of goods and services across borders, despite multi-million-dollar investments in border infrastructure like the one at Mutukula. Maganga noted differing perspectives within the business community. Now, Maganga underscored the untapped potential for trade between Uganda and Tanzania through maximal utilization of the multi-modal transport system on the Central Corridor. Uganda business community weighed in on the issue of learning Swahili on doing business in the region. And a recent East African Community report on non-tariff barriers highlighted Tanzania and Uganda's leading roles in unresolved barriers, stifling trade growth between the two countries. Despite the enormous potential, trade between Tanzania and Uganda remains stagnant at approximately $400 million per annum. Now, this transition from one-stop to non-stop border posts is seen as crucial for enhancing cross-border trade, underscoring the need for collaborative efforts and to overcome persistent challenges and unlock the economic benefits of seamless trade in the region. Well, when you talk about cross-border trade, we've had the conversation on why do you even need a passport to move from one country to another, yet your neighbors. We've also talked about a common language to foster business and other relations. So hopefully this also yields into something great. Well, that's it for the business updates. Let's take a look and see how we were trading as of closure of business yesterday. Now, as you can see, as of yesterday, the dollar opened at 3,803 for you who was buying, and it was selling at 3,813.17. And by closure of business, it was buying at 3,800 while selling at 3,810. Might be a good time for you to get some of those dollars. Now, the Great Britain pound closed at 4,831 for buying and closed at 4,844 selling. The euro closed at 4,113 buying, selling at 4,124. The Kenya shilling closed at 28.61 while selling at 28.68. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.46 while selling at 1.46 still. And lastly, the South African rand was buying at 206.03 while selling at 206.57. And this was as of closure of business yesterday. And that leads us to the end of Good Morning Uganda Business Updates. Coming up is the traffic updates for you to know which route you can use. And of course, a little bit of a few traffic tips here and there from Olive Monica Najuma.
Well, good morning. Thank you for sticking with us. This is time for our traffic updates. Now, children went back to school yesterday, at least nationally. Schools reopened officially yesterday. What this means is that in the morning and in the evenings, you may encounter more traffic jam on the roads, much more than you have been in the last 3 to 4 weeks. So we are starting off in a Seta to see how the situation on the road is over there and see how we can get to other parts of the Kampala-Jinja highway. Now, starting off still, like I said, in Seta, I see that we have stretches of a traffic jam in different sections along the Kampala-Jinja highway. And as we continue with the same route, I see that we are still experiencing the same. In some sections, we have smooth flow of traffic, and in others, we have traffic jam. The stretches of traffic jam are not yet long, but as we move along, we will know. And so we continue still within Seta, and that's along the Kampala-Jinja highway, to see how the traffic situation is doing. Now, along the Chigunga tax stage, I see that we are experiencing a bit of a traffic jam over there. And of course, as we continue through Seta, I see that the stretches of a traffic jam actually continue right about now, and in some places they are actually intense. What you see there is a long stretch of traffic jam in Seta. I see that the feeder roads like Liata Road are also bringing in some traffic jam, feeding it into the main Kampala-Jinja highway. And for the most part, I see only red and yellow zones along the Kampala-Jinja highway. Now, when we move along, I'm starting to experience a few green zones, which are indicative of smooth flow of traffic as we continue with the Kampala-Jinja Road highway. Now, still moving with the same, there are a few stretches where I'm seeing smooth flow of traffic, especially as we approach the Kampala-Jinja Road bypass. Now, as you're moving, it goes without saying, and I will repeat myself over and over again, when schools start, you're going to experience more traffic jam on the road, much more than when children are on holiday. So for you that is supposed to be at work at a given time, it's usually advisable for you to leave home a bit early. Though with, of course, with the security situation we have right now in the country, the rate of crime going up in Kampala Metropolitan, always ensure that your car doors are locked and that your windows are up, especially when you're approaching traffic lights, because as you wait for the lights to let you go, sometimes thieves use that opportunity to break into your car. So always ensure that your car is locked and that your windows are up. Well, my name is Olive, and Good Morning Uganda continues.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja, a documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We were the same people, and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people.
We are one.
Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2024 at the National Theatre and Indere Center. Daily screenings are from 4th February to June 2024 at Ham Cinemax and the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butego. UBC Butego.
Maintaining a heart-healthy diet is crucial for overall cardiovascular well-being. Here are some foods that are generally considered beneficial for heart health. Number 1. Fatty fish. Fatty fish, such as salmon and mackerel, are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. These essential fats have anti-inflammatory properties and are associated with a reduced risk of heart disease. Omega-3 can help lower triglycerides, decrease blood clotting, and maintain the flexibility of blood vessels. Number 2. Berries. Berries are packed with antioxidants including vitamins C and E, flavonoids, and polyphenols. These compounds help neutralize free radicals in the body, reducing oxidative stress and inflammation, both of which are linked to heart disease. Number 3. Oats. Oats contain soluble fiber, particularly beta-glucans. Soluble fiber helps lower LDL cholesterol levels by binding to cholesterol molecules and removing them from the body. This can contribute to a healthier lipid profile and reduce the risk of atherosclerosis. Number 4. Nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds, such as almonds and flax seeds, provide monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. These fats are beneficial for heart health, as they can help lower LDL cholesterol and reduce the risk of coronary artery disease. Number 5. Legumes. Legumes like lentils, chickpeas, beans, and peas are excellent sources of plant-based proteins, fiber, and various nutrients. Consuming more plant-based proteins can be a heart-healthy choice, as it often comes with less saturated fat compared to some animal proteins. Number 6. Avocado. Avocados are not only a good source of heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, but also provide potassium. Potassium helps regulate blood pressure by balancing the effects of sodium and supporting proper muscle and nerve function. Number 7. Olive oil. Use extra virgin olive oil in cooking and salad dressings. It's rich in monounsaturated fats and contains powerful antioxidants that can help reduce inflammation and improve cholesterol levels. Number 8. Green tea. Green tea contains catechins, which are antioxidants that may help protect the lining of blood vessels, improve blood vessel function, and reduce the risk of developing cardiovascular diseases. It's a healthy alternative to sugary beverages. Number 9. Whole grains. Whole grains like brown rice and quinoa provide complex carbohydrates and fiber, promoting satiety and helping to regulate blood sugar levels. The fiber content also supports digestive health and cholesterol management. Number 10. Garlic. Garlic contains allicin, a compound with potential cardiovascular benefits, including the ability to lower blood pressure and cholesterol levels. Including garlic in your diet may contribute to heart health. Number 11. Dark chocolate. Dark chocolate with high cocoa content contains flavonoids, which have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Consuming dark chocolate in moderation may have potential cardiovascular benefits. Remember, while these foods are beneficial for heart health, it's essential to maintain a balanced diet that includes a variety of nutrient-rich foods. Additionally, individual dietary needs can vary, so it's advisable to consult with a healthcare professional or a registered dietitian for personalized advice based on your specific health status and goals. This program is produced by Sani Productions, powered by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda. Welcome to today's episode. In this informative video, we will be discussing the essential tips that can greatly contribute to maintaining healthy kidneys. So let's dive in. Tip number 1. Stay hydrated. Drinking an adequate amount of water is essential for kidney function. It helps flush out toxins and waste products from the body. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water a day to keep your kidneys hydrated and functioning optimally. Tip number 2. Eat a balanced diet. Include fruits, vegetables, and whole grains in your meals. Avoid excessive salt and processed foods that can put strain on your kidneys. A healthy diet will provide essential nutrients and support kidney health. Limit the intake of processed foods, salt, and added sugars. Tip number 3. Control blood pressure. High blood pressure can damage the kidneys over time. Monitor and manage your blood pressure through a healthy lifestyle, including a low-sodium diet, regular exercise, and stress management. Tip number 4. Maintain a healthy weight. Being overweight or obese can increase the risk of kidney disease. Adopting a healthy diet and regular exercise can help maintain a healthy weight. Tip number 5. Monitor blood sugar. High blood sugar levels can damage the kidneys. If you have diabetes, manage your blood sugar levels through medication, a balanced diet, and regular exercise. Tip number 6. Quit smoking. Smoking narrows blood vessels and reduces blood flow to the kidneys, leading to kidney damage. Kick the habit for better kidney health. Tip number 7. Limit alcohol consumption. Moderation is key. Excessive alcohol consumption can strain the kidneys and contribute to kidney damage. Limit your alcohol intake to protect their long-term function. Tip number 8. Limit your salt intake. Too much salt can raise your blood pressure and strain your kidneys. Opt for low-sodium alternatives whenever possible. Tip number 9. Limit over-the-counter painkillers. Overuse of non-prescription pain relievers, such as NSAIDs, can harm the kidneys. Use these medications with caution and follow the recommended dosage. Consult your doctor for safer alternatives. Tip number 10. Regular health checkups. Schedule regular checkups with your healthcare provider. Monitoring blood pressure, blood sugar levels, and kidney function through routine tests is important for early detection of potential issue. By following these 10 essential tips, you can take control of your kidney health and prevent future complications. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable information on maintaining a healthy lifestyle. This program is produced by Sani Production, powered by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butembo. UBC Butembo.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
We'll be back from the break, and many thanks for sticking around to Good Morning Uganda. Monday, 3rd June will be a public holiday, and in this context, a public religious holiday for the Ugandans out there. Uganda will be joining the rest of the believers to commemorate and celebrate the Ugandan martyrs. A group of 23 were Anglican, 22 were Catholics. And in this particular discussion that we are to have this morning, we turn our focus on the preparations at the Anglican side as the Martyrs' Day celebrations gear up. We're only left with about 5 days to the final day of Martyrs' Day 3rd. Many pilgrims coming into the country, those from Kenya, those from northern Uganda, southwestern Uganda, and also to remind you that the Rwenzori diocese will be leading prayers at the Anglican side. That is on Monday, 3rd June, and of course the guest preacher will be coming in from Nigeria. If I'm to put it in that way now, joining us this morning, we're going to be talking to the head of commission that is coming in from Namirembe Diocese, Reverend Canon Geoffrey Byarugaba, who does join us via a phone call this morning to have this conversation to get to understand the preparations. He's head of Mission Kampala, not commission, like I did put it earlier. A very good morning, Reverend. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having us, and sorry in the circumstances I can't be there in person, but I'm glad to be part of this conversation. And good morning, viewers and listeners, wherever you are.
Okay. And Reverend Canon Geoffrey Byarugaba, I would first of all get to understand the full titles of your name. I think I've messed up a little bit. I said head of mission in Kampala.
Yes, you're right. I'm the Diocesan Mission Coordinator. I'm also the head of clergy in Kampala, but also the province.
All right. And so that means I'm in sync with what we are going to be having this morning. Now let's get back into a little brief of the historical background of the Anglican martyrs that we will be celebrating on Monday.
Correct. These martyrs, as you probably have heard the story over and over again, these were the young converts from traditional religions that were obtaining here into Christianity. They were part of the school, the early school, which met at the Kawaka's court. Quite a number of them were pages, others served in different roles in the kingdom. And these were the very, very first people to be recruited by the missionaries. And they were taught how to read and write. They were also taught the basics of the Christian faith. And they were convinced, some of them were already baptized Christians, but others were not yet baptized, but they were still in the catechism classes of the day. And then the things turned upside down. There were a number of religious concerns, but also political concerns that said these matters were going to be dangerous to the kingdom. They were upsetting the established order. And I should say that these matters were not innocent people. These were revolutionaries. They were overthrowing an established spiritual setup which undergirded the kingdom. And at the time, there was also an infusion of Islam. Islam had come and was gaining influence at the Kawaka, at the palace. So all the fear of overthrowing an established religious system, in turn overthrowing the political system, was one of the grounds that they were agitated against, and they were seen and cast as enemies of the state, and therefore was killing to teach them as an example, and teach them a lesson, but also use them as an example so that everybody else should toe the line.
And in the current teachings of the Anglican faith, When you look at some of the matters, who are some of those matters that directly impact the lives of the Ugandans today, and then whose story resonates directly with most of the believers?
Well, I think all of them. Unfortunately, the Anglican tradition does not so much exalt the martyrs as the Roman Catholic tradition does. But they are heroes of the faith. They had opportunity to recant. They said no. They chose to suffer the ultimate, paying the price. And in due course, they really paid a heavy price for the rest of the Christians who came later after, who enjoy things. Of course, we have names, after some names that have been named after some places of worship, like Kakumba. We have a chapel in Chambogo named after him. Serwangas, the Noah Serwangas, and a number of others whose memory has been perpetuated in the naming of churches. But all of them, of course. There's even a female martyr who is still under study, Clara Narumansi, who was actually Kawaka Mwanga's own sister. And so all of them are quite significant in one way or other. But generally, overall, they helped overthrow the spiritual blanket that covered Uganda at the time and paved the way for a new way of looking at things.
Okay, and speaking of inspiration, here on UBC we inspire Ugandans. Now this question is a little bit personal on your side. I wish to know, how have the matters inspired your faith or your journey in faith over the years, and listening to their story and of course putting it into context in how you believe and your practices getting closer to know God and the like?
There is sometimes we fail to see the reality at the time. Life was hard, was very difficult. You imagine the hygiene condition alone, where you have a whole kingdom with no pit latrine. Look at the effects of slave trade, and look at the politics. At the time, there were no borders. The borders were still fluid. So really, life was not as settled. It wasn't as clear cut. You imagine a world with no 10 commandments. So what is the law that guides life? So life was a little bit a lot different from what it is now. For me, there's one young man, Yusuf Rugarama. Yusuf Rugarama was drawn from my own clan. He had been captured and brought here, and he was a young man, one of the very first ones to be martyred. So to me, I drove inspiration that a clansman was part of the matters, if that is an inspiration. But generally, the whole set of matters form what we call a crowd of witnesses in the epistle to the Hebrews. As a believer, I know I'm surrounded with such a crowd of witnesses who paid the ultimate price and have not been tempted to that level. So I'm really cheating out in the faith. But I know that there are those who have been faced with a situation where they've paid the ultimate price. I also remember the words by Jim Elliot. Jim Elliot was a young man, also a Christian missionary, who said, "He is no fool. He is no fool. He who gives up what he cannot keep to gain that which he can never lose." So as much as our earthly life is okay, is useful, we need to enjoy it. But ultimately, when you gauge it against eternity, it's better if you make choices that affect eternity in the sense of giving out worldly pleasures and concerns to gain eternal life.
And then also when you look at the matters and the Anglican Church in general, in what ways did martyrdom strengthen the Anglican Church that we have today?
Interestingly, soon after martyrdom, the Christian Christians realized they actually needed to be interested in the political affairs of the kingdom. And if you recall, the religious wars followed soon after. But the Anglicans reacted, they responded to the war. They did not cause the war. They were not attacked. They were attacked first. And the religious wars eventually overthrew a traditional religious political system and established an order which was brought in by the Apolokagwas and the like. And that's when even the state formation of Uganda was completed, the treaties with the other kingdoms and other areas. So the religious wars that stemmed out of a desire for self-preservation and protection to guard their freedom to believe and practice I think that is what has shaped Uganda even as we have it today. Unfortunately, it came out of those unfortunate ashes, but that's the reality, that where the state is too weak to safeguard life and property, the Christian he should not just be he should not just stand by, he should participate and shape the political destiny and the culture of any country that they are serving in or living in.
And when you look at the modern day practices, in what ways did martyrdom influence the kind of practices in church and the Christian beliefs, and in what ways has the church tried to incorporate the martyrdom spirit into the believers today?
The following Jesus has a cost. Right away, Jesus told his disciples that following me, pick up your cross and follow me. The following Jesus has a cost. And that cost, depending on individuals, is expected to be paid. It is a degree of sacrifice. But for the greater good, the one we believed in, we believe in sacrifice far more for our redemption than any of us can sacrifice. So following Jesus has a sacrifice. And the martyrs teach us that it is not a picnic just following Jesus. It's not a beach experience. It has a cost. But compared to what we gain in life, but also in eternity, the cost is incomparable, but is there. So anyone who desires to follow Jesus and is not willing to pay the cost, that one will soon become a casualty, and he will not make it, he will not complete the journey. So that is part of the inspiration. And we have live examples, Ugandan examples, by blood. It's not just Bazungu. We have Ugandan examples who demonstrated that and lived that out, and whose lives we commemorate the 3rd of June.
And then also, when you look at the modern day Christians today, kind of have problems they are facing from the spiritual side of things. And then maybe if we try to compare the problems or challenges the martyrs faced during their time with those our believers are facing today, or we the believers are facing today, when you look at some of them, which problems seem identical to you or in your observation?
Well, unfortunately, the comparisons are very few and the contrasts are more. We are kind of spoiled, really. What we are facing, being a saved person has become fashionable. It has been made easy. We want crowns, we don't want the cross. We want testimonies, we don't want to undergo tests. We have become spoiled in a way. I'm not complaining about it, but I should remind my fellow pilgrims that life is not as good or as fair for our brothers and sisters. There are those who don't have the freedom we enjoy to believe believe and practice their faith. Some under a different political and religious system. It is very recent when the Christians in China are still underground. And these are so the contrasts are many. The similarities, yes, we are believers, but the conditions, life has become much, much easier for us. The use of technology, we have freedoms, we have Bibles to read. These people didn't even have the full Bible. They had some translations of the New Testament. We have a lot that has been given us as opportunity to live out a Christian faith and make impact for the kingdom than those young people had. And the principle that to whom much is given, much is also expected.
All right, now let's get into some of the ongoing, sort of persecution examples that we do have today. You get to realize that there is an element of assault, and it comes in various forms. There is sexual assault, which is very common in church today. And when you look at this, it cannot be something.
I didn't get the word. An element of
assault. When you look at assault coming in the modern church today, and I want us to have a conversation trying to build it in regards to the persecution that happened of the Uganda matters. It was quite different. It wasn't the kind of sexual assault, but as of today, we have some examples of that as sexual assault in modern church today. In what ways can the church be supportive of Christians facing certain levels of persecution?
In Uganda, we can't talk of persecution. The persecution they underwent was state-sponsored and state-inspired. What we are undergoing is persecution in courts. It's not official. It could be localized. It could be teasing your peers when we became Christians in secondary school.
Yes.
They jeered us. They said, we are going to see how much you will last. It is localized, could be at family level, but I know some of our colleagues who are from Islamic families, for example, who are really, really persecuted. And there was a clip recently of this girl who was caned heavily, I think somewhere in Padisa or some eastern district. So the persecution in Uganda is localized to family, to peer circles, but is not as severe to the extent of taking their lives as it was then, and was state-inspired and state-sponsored. Now, there's persecution, but there's also abuse. There's abuse for some of the believers. You may have some spiritual bullies who may be abusing innocent flock, and that is different from persecution. And I think it could be, we have the example of Kanungu, the restoration of the 10 Commandments of God. Those who were deceived, those who were cultic, unfortunately, it ended the way it did when almost 1,000 people perished. And so I don't know whether that is called persecution or it is called abuse.
It is. But when you look at some of the examples of modern day persecution, you get to realize that is also part of it. There is terrorism, kidnappings, abuse, assault, and martyrdom, which we do not have currently. And Canon, let's look at the preparations now. But before we go into the current preparations, I wish to know what are some of the practices that have been carried out by the Anglican Church during the past celebrations of Martyrs' Day?
The Anglican Church, the name of the church is actually Church of Uganda. It is historically Anglican.
Okay.
The main theme is really commemoration, memorial. Remember so-and-so, their sacrifice, their commitment. Emulate them in your daily lives. They made choices. which were hard choices and expensive choices. So should we, if you must. But that's the main theme is commemoration, is memorial. And it is shared in testimony, it is shared in praise. Recently we've had to decentralize in a way so that there are some functions which build into the third. We have children's pilgrimage happening a weekend before, so that the children also get to hear the story in a non-threatening way. We have the youth, the women. Tomorrow we are meeting the men and speaking to them in the context of martyrdom, but also something to build their daily lives as Christian men and heads of families. Modifying them to meet the needs, the contextual needs, but largely to have occasion as a church to commemorate these heroes of the faith in whose footsteps the current church is walking.
And do we have a current theme for this year's celebrations canon that will be giving us a clear lead to the prayers and the celebrations in general?
I beg your pardon, I didn't hear you well.
Do we have a current theme for 2024 that will be our guide?
The current theme is to not be conformed to the standards of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind. That is the epistle to the Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2.
Okay.
That is the overall theme.
And let's get into the relevance of the theme, because it is quite important for the believers to fully understand the context behind the formation of such a theme that is leading us to Martyrs' Day. How relevant is it to our believers today ahead of Martyrs' Day?
A believer on earth is called the church, part of the church militant. The church on earth is the church at war, fighting against the world, the flesh, and the devil. And in the worldly angle, the battle against the world is the philosophy that shapes the worldview, that shapes the decision-making processes of life. So, and the mind is the battleground for matters of faith. The devil is interested in the mind, God is interested in the mind. In fact, in the commandment says to love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind. So the mind, the Church of Christ takes the mind as an important theater or arena for demonstration of faith or for loss of that faith. So what happens in the mind is important, and therefore that's why this year's theme is about feeding the mind, transforming it with God's information. Because as you think, so you act. As you think, so you are. So the mind is a very important theater. Now this transformation is like dabbing off wrong information, which the devil has been inscribing on man's mind, and dabbing off with the godly information which is in the Bible, and is the one which shapes the aspiration, the thinking, the actions, and the dream and the faith of a believer is the information that they have, and also inform the faith that we practice. So the mind is very important in that sense.
And when it comes to ensuring the continuity of the Martyrs' Day legacy, what does the Church of Uganda intend to do to ensure that this moves on to generations and generations to come? What is being done by the Church of Uganda, and what do you intend to further do to ensure that this legacy never dies?
Interestingly, somebody commented that the church is always one generation away from extinction. The church is always one generation away from extinction. This is very true when you see the falling away from the Christian faith of the countries that once sent us missionaries in Europe and North America. And they are now being replaced with other things. So we have an obligation and a duty to share the faith with the young. And it is an admonition that God gave to Israel to teach, instruct, and model and cultivate this faith as you wake up, as you sleep, as you move on the road, in the songs, in the everyday cycle of life, in the rites and rituals of life, teaching the faith to the young people in speech, but more so in faith and action is very critical. Many churches now have children's churches where we have a strong emphasis on children's ministry. And at All Saints Cathedral, we have almost 10,000 in the children's church. We are training children's church ministers and spending them and giving them special skills on how to impart the faith in the young people. We are admonishing the families to be very serious, fathers and mothers to be serious in pastoring their children, but it's still work in progress. We can't say we have already arrived, we are still work in progress because the dangers that are posed by secular culture through the TVs and modern information communication technology gadgets are real. They are real. The cartoons, those that come to shape the thinking and the entertainment of our country, of our children, those are real. So the church is grappling with that reality that unless we deliberately teach these young people what the Christian faith is about, the basic catechism, we are in danger of having a non-church generation emerging soon after our departure.
Well, Canon, I've always wondered and always wanted to ask. We see thousands of pilgrims making their way and trekking to Namugongo annually. My question is, after the 3rd of June, do we have other sets of prayers on the 4th and 5th where some of these pilgrims stay and join in prayer to still commemorate and celebrate Martyrs' Day? Or is it normally after 3rd, everyone just leaves and goes?
Well, we have a church calendar lectionary or a set of teachings, and they are not just the Uganda Martyrs that we commemorate. We have many feast days and saints days that we commemorate, like on the 1st of November, we have All Saints Day, but we have other saints in the faith that we commemorate from the very first century onwards up to the Uganda Martyrs, including Jana and Luwum. So it is part of the calendar of the commemoration, but there are other saints that we commemorate in the church life that are sources of inspiration and example that motivate us to continue running the race as well.
And then also, let's get into this year's preparations finally on Monday, because we are seeing so many are already arriving in Namugongo. Many are on their way in Namugongo. We also expect a guest preacher coming in. How ready is the Church of Uganda, and how ready is Namugongo to have all these thousands of believers on Monday?
Well, I think we are almost there. But of course, like Ugandan homes, when you are expecting visitors, there are those that you do last minute, and you may not even know how many are coming. But whatever it is, we are ready to host them. We have made preparations. We've had budgets. We've had committees set up for welfare, for everything. We hope, and but we know it is not going to be like a 5-star hotel experience, because really this is a religious ceremony we are talking about. It's not luxury, and any suffering or pain is okay. We hope it will not be life-threatening, but we kind of seem to be ready with the preparation so far in the context of African hospitality.
And then you've mentioned something about the young people and how the children preparations or how the children are being prepared also this weekend as we head to Martyrs Day. But when you look at today's young people, the martyrs were youth or were young men who are really enthusiastic about their faith, and well, dying for your own faith at such an age is quite an inspiration to the young people today. If you're to give a message to the young person watching or to a young man out there, what advice would you give to them, picking lessons from the Uganda martyrs?
Yes, of course the challenge for the adult church is really to share the story, to tell the story, and live the story to have its impact on the young people. If we shelter them from hearing the story, they may not even form an opinion, or they may not appreciate it. So the church, our duty is to tell the story as it is, as it was, and then its impact is enormous. Is enormous. When you unleash the gospel, its impact is enormous. So we may not quantify the impact, but definitely God has said that His word shared out does not come empty. It has impact, and we have testimonies of those who said, now my commitment to Christ and the faith is now stronger because of hearing what these young people who didn't even know much as we know, because of what they did, my commitment and my faith is now stronger. And so we cannot underestimate the power of the story told, and just unleash it. It has its impact.
Oh, okay. And lastly, what would be your message to the believers and those who are ready to be part of the celebrations, or those on their way to Namugongo?
Well, the message is, you believers in Uganda, you have been blessed indeed. You have heroes in the faith to look up to. Any temptation that comes your way is the kind that is common. Some have overcome it, and so can you. So, but also remember that following Jesus has a cost. But the cost cannot be compared to what He already paid on our behalf. And that cost is incomparable to the unsearchable, unspeakable riches in Him that will be ours if we persist and reach the end.
All right. Thank you very much, Reverend Canon Geoffrey Byarugaba, for that time you've given to us this morning.
Welcome, and sorry for failing to appear in person, but it was a pleasure being hosted by you on this important theme and topic.
Well, the beauty is the message has been delivered. Thank you very much and have a blessed day.
You too. Bye.
There you have it, Reverend Canon Geoffrey Byarugaba, Assistant Mission Coordinator, Namirembe Diocese or Kampala Diocese, as we were looking into...
It is the Assistant Mission Coordinator, Diocese of Kampala.
Oh, okay, Diocesan Mission Coordinator, Diocese of Kampala. Thank you very much. And he has been giving us a key heads up of the preparations for 2024 Martyrs Day from the side of the Church of Uganda. Now, as we're summing up with our agenda this morning, you get to realize that over 300 pilgrims from Kenya crossed the Busia border in two groups on their way to Namugongo to mark the annual June 3rd Martyrs Day. And the first group comprised of 210 pilgrims from Nakuru, Eldoret and Kericho archdioceses. And they also started their journey on May 8th and then had since covered a distance of 157 kilometers. Then they are about 192 kilometers to reach Namugongo. So when you look at that, we have so many making their way or trekking to Namugongo. And then from the side of Nebi, Honorable Fiona Nyamtoro also joined the cause, as well as the Prime Minister from the believers that were trekking from Hoima. So it's a journey that many believers are taking on till the 3rd of June as we celebrate and commemorate Martyrs Day. For the bit of broadcasting, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation will be bringing you details of everything on Monday from the Catholic side and, of course, the Anglican side. So keep it locked here as more is yet to come. But for now, Good Morning Uganda does take a break. After it It will be Ruben Pima with the latest from sports. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC